and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a video that I wasn't actually expecting to do, but there was this really interesting list on Twitter that came out from the translator Morgan Giles, or that she retweeted someone else's post. And I thought I just really wanted to share that right now with you guys because this list is super exciting. And it's basically a list that's looking at a few of the Japanese books that are coming out in 2025 in English translation. And the thing that made me so excited is that there are some titles in here that are just insane. And titles that I've been expecting to come out in translation. And just authors that are just super fantastic. But like also it's just the fact that for me personally, some of the previous years in terms of books coming on translation have felt a little weak to me, or I just haven't been as interested in some of the titles available, but this list just struck me so hard. So I just really wanted to share this with you. And the first one that I'm just super excited is the translation of the book I just finished reading in Japanese. The book is Shoumetsu Sekai by Sayaka Murata. This is a book that came out, let's see, when did I buy this? Because that's when it came out. Ooh, it's been a few years. It's been a while. I bought this a long time. I think it was like 2015 or something along those lines. No, because that's when I came in Japan. It had to be a little later, maybe 2018, 2019. In any case, it's been out on the market for a while. I just read it this past summer because, let's be honest, even though I can read Japanese, I don't read it as often as I should be reading it. And it's just an issue of me being able to read so many languages and there being so many books for me to read. It's like, well, I could read in Japanese, but I'll be reading fewer books because I don't read as quickly. So maybe I should just read the books in the languages that I do read really quickly. It's kind of like one of those things. But in any case, I finally read this for summer, and there must have been something in my brain that foreshadowed this because this is getting translated. Apparently it's coming out April 24th by Granta Books. The English title is The Vanishing World, which I was struggling when I introduced this book in my wrap-up. I actually struggled to think, ooh, what would be a really good title for this? But The Vanishing World is very appropriate. So this is a book. It's just to give a very brief summary, which I'm not very good at, but it's basically a new world where the concept of relationships has changed because couples are no longer having sexual relations, and it's a world where research has developed to a point where now everyone is getting artificial insemination for their pregnancies, and now we're getting close to the point where men will be able to carry children themselves via artificial uteruses. And there's so much social commentary in this book, both about Japanese society, but that can be turned into commentary about just humanity as a whole and our interactions, how relationships are changing in our present world, how we are feeling more connection to TV shows and celebrities on TV and idols on TV rather than the people we are them. It explores the concept of family versus love versus lust, and it's a fantastic book. Oh, I did really well on that summary. I'm proud of myself just now. But yeah, I'm super excited about this. I'm majorly excited to see what the American audience will react, how the American audience will react to the last few pages, because there is one scene that is quite controversial. So I'm very curious to see how you guys feel about this. But I'm so excited that I finally read this in Japanese and that you guys can finally read this upcoming in 2025. Super exciting. Another exciting book that I had to share is the translation of one of the most recent Akutagawa Prize winners. I talk incessantly on this channel about how I love the Akutagawa Japanese Literary Prize. I mentioned so much that if you win that prize, you're pretty much guaranteed to be translated in other languages. This is just another beautiful example of that. And this is a book. It is called Hunchback. So yeah, in Japanese it's Hunchback, and it's called Hunchback, and it's by Ichikawa Saou, or Saou Ichikawa. And this is a book I actually haven't finished. Let me say, I haven't finished this. This is a book It's ridiculous. I don't know what was happening when I was reading this. It's only 90 pages long. You can see it's the text is very like, it's very it's not like, there isn't a lot of black on the pages. That's what I would say. It's quite minimal in the text and the writing style. So there's no reason that I shouldn't have read this by now. My friends are waiting for me to finish this so they can discuss it with me. You know, sometimes you just get a little mental something and you get just a little blockage, and that's where I'm at. But what I read was incredible, and it's like this is, I just knew this is going to get published. Not even just because it's an Akutagawa Show Prize winner, but just the fact that like it scratches that like the publishing's marketing industry checklist. Like this is catnip for the publishing industry. A, it's Japanese. It's a prize winner. It is a own voices. It is a female writer, and it's a book about disability. The author has, I don't remember what it is exactly because I read this, or I partially read this quite a while ago. I am going to try and read it this year though. I've decided I am going to try and read this year. But the author is bound to a wheelchair where she can't, she has no feeling of her legs, I know that, and she has a deformity of her hands and arms, and she has very weak musculature because of that. And so for the most part, she's almost completely invalid due to her disability. And her main character shares the same disability. And basically what it is that the main character is a secret blog writer of lusty, like seedy underground like orgies, where apparently she's a reporter that goes into these happening bars, or which is basically the Japanese word for orgy bars, and she reports on them, and she like gives her recommendations and things like that. But you're immediately, so like, oh gosh, I just makes me want to talk about this book, but like the very first scene is the scene of like an orgy at a happening bar, and the whole time you're reading this, the thing that's interesting about that passage is you're reading this and you're just thinking to yourself, none of this is realistic. Like this sex scene is just really off. It's really weird. Like condoms like dropping from the rooftop of the happening bar, and like the way like a woman is able to have an orgasm like 10 times in a row, which is not impossible. Like there are certain women, it's quite rare, who are able to do these things. But realistically, these things are for the most part just very, very unrealistic and like very rare if they would happen. And so the first scene just, it really just triggers a sense of this is off, this is not right. And you're immediately brought to the protagonist who's writing the scene, who admits that she's never had sexual relations in her life. And this whole book is about her talking about her desire to be able to do things that regular society can do, have sex, have sexual relations, and she's quite sex obsessed, to be honest. But the thing is that she's so obsessed that she also wants to do the things that just because she can't do them, she wants to do. So she wants to be able to cheat on her partner. She wants to have a baby just because she wants to have an abortion. It is crazy. It is hard hitting. There's this whole passage where she talks about the book talk in like booktube, and she says, screw you and your booktop aesthetic, because of book talkers and YouTubers who are saying, oh, I hate ebooks, I need to have the feel, the physical book in my hands. You're not reading if you can't smell the pages of a book, or audiobooks aren't reading. And she says, screw you, F you. That's the only way, like ebooks and like having a personnel of the sort of hospice where she lives, like having the personnel scan the pages of a book so that I can actually physically read them is the only thing I can read the book. And that still means I'm reading. So F you, screw your aesthetic. And she's non-apologetic. She is screaming at the reader and everybody about what it is to be in her situation and how she wants to be able to make the choices that everybody else gets to make. And so this book even though I haven't finished it, I just knew this was getting published. There was no doubt that this was getting published, and I'm so happy that it is getting published in March, and the translator is Polly Barton. So super excited for this coming out. So those are the two huge titles that I'm just super excited because, you know, almost read the original, will read this. I'm going to work to read it this year. This is going to be the next book I read in Japanese. And I'll reread the next few pages. But yeah, these are just so exciting, like crazy exciting. Some other books that I'm really excited. There is a new Yuko Tsushima book that is coming out. Yuko Tsushima, I love. She is the daughter of Osamu Dazai, and she is an author that just portrays so beautifully the reality of what it is to be a single mother in Japan. She is also very much non-apologetic. Her single mothers are very flawed. They make very bad decisions, very rash decisions, but when it comes to the character in itself, the decisions they're realistic. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. And so the fact that she is, we are going to get another book by her is very exciting. I haven't looked up the plot of what it is, but the book is called Wildcat Dome. So interesting of it. Sort of, I'm really curious to know how that title is going to, how that title portrays the contents of the book. I'm really excited about that. But yeah, Yuko Tsushima, it's coming out in March. And I just love her. I just love this author. She's one of my faves. We are getting two books coming out by Mieko Kawakami. One is called Sisters in Yellow, and the other one is Dreams of Love. I don't know what to say. I mean, like, if you're not familiar, or if you're thinking, oh, I think I know what that name is, but I haven't heard it in a while, or what was it? She's the author of Breasts and Eggs. She's the author of Heaven. She's the author of All the Lovers in the Night, which is a book that I just purchased actually. So I'm gonna have to catch up on to reading because this is also another book. This is the original Japanese version of Breasts and Eggs. This is the book that won the Ichikawa Prize. I don't know if you can see, there is a bookmark in there. I had put it down. Same thing as Hunchback. I think it's just like, you know, a mood issue, just not being able to push on. Also, her writing is actually very distinct, very particular. Her use of dialogue and dialect in dialogue is absolutely super fantastic, but it can trip you up because it's the way it's written. This is very different than Hunchback. It's walls and walls of black text. It's just there's like all the dialogue will be in like one paragraph because it's just like when two women speak and they just sort of jump on each other's sentences, and it's a full-flowing conversation. It's appropriate, but it's very the way she writes dialogue are very realistic to how we actually speak in real life. So these are just walls and walls of text, and I had gotten kind of stuck on it. So I do need to catch up on Mieko Kawakami. There's so much I need to read for her. But in any case, two new books coming out by her. Very exciting. I know a lot of people are going to be very happy about that news. We are also getting a new Osamu Dazai translation, translated by Ralph McCarty by New Directions in February. It's a book of short stories called No One Knows. What else? Oh, right. We are, how could I miss this? We are actually getting another Akutagawa Prize winner. I think this was the prize winner just a year ago. I'm starting to lose track of time. But the original title is Oishii Gohan ga taberemasu yōni. Yeah, Oishii Gohan ga taberemasu yōni. The English translation is called May You Have Delicious Meals. That is coming out by Hutchinson Heinemann in February. And it's by Junko Takase, and the translator is Morgan Giles. Morgan Giles, the whole reason she actually retweeted this list of upcoming translations was the fact that, well, A, she's translating one of the books, but she made this very funny comment to ignore the really bad cover, which I agree. Well, okay, she didn't say ignore. I said ignore the bad cover. She said, oh, this is this just shows you how us as translators have no idea about the finished product. until it comes, like, until it sometimes even comes out. So the book was the the cover was announced, and this was actually her first time seeing the cover. So she was just making like a little tweet showing that like the book publishing process is just, it's kind of there's a lack of communication in many places. But yeah, I'm the one who said this is a hideous cover. I don't like it. I think it's I just think it's bad. I just think like no one's gonna want to read this book. But it is an Akutagawa Prize winner, so definitely check it out. I haven't read it. To be honest, in the list of that year for the Akutagawa Prize, that wasn't the book that interested me the most. There was actually another book that was on the short list that interested me a little bit more. But it's a winner. And so I have no doubt that it's an excellent book, even if maybe the blurb didn't speak to me at the time. Another thing that Morgan Giles said is that the title wasn't her decision. So if you think the title is kind of amateurish or not so good, the title of May You Have Delicious Meals, it's not her choice. And she said, don't come at me. Like, don't blame the translator. Don't blame me. It wasn't her choice. It is pretty much a direct translation of the original Japanese title, Oishii gohan ga taberemasu you ni, which is, may we be able to eat delicious meals. It's a long title. It is an awkward title. It works a little better in Japanese. I think in Japanese, you're able to do more of those longer titles and it still feels good. While in English, I think we prefer to a little bit more short, succinct, catchy titles. But it is what it is. It is what it is. But yeah, those are just like a few of the titles that I wanted to feature. There is another Mishima coming out by Penguin Classics, and that is it's a short story collection called Voices of the Fallen Heroes and Other Stories. So yeah, there is so much going out, and this is just a preliminary list. A lot of Japanese literature these days comes out on translation. It's a huge, so much different world than what the Japanese literature world was back when I first started reading Japanese lit, where you got the grades. You had the Tanizaki, the Ois, the Mishimas, the Yoshimura, the Abe. Like, you had all the grades being translated, but it was very heavy focusing on literature, and you would only get maybe like 5 to 10 books translated in a year. But now I think last year, just in fiction, there were 50 books translated into English from Japanese. So now there are so many options. So this is just a short list, just a short glimpse showing us some of the big titles, some of the big names that we will be seeing in 2025. And I'm just so excited about this list because there are some hard hitters, books that I've personally enjoyed, authors I've personally enjoyed. And I just think this is a very, very exciting list, and I needed to share it with you guys right away. Like, I had other videos planned for today. I was actually debating on there are so many books, so many videos I actually want to post right away. But I just knew this had to take precedence because this is urgent right now news. Check this out. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for sharing with me the excitement of these titles, and I will see you again in my next video. Bye.